Hey folks, I wanted to go over the Wi-Fi settings for the relay board, um, just to show you how to control that. When you first turn on the relay board, the default SSID, which is the Wi-Fi ID of it, is Proton Pack Vent Kit. So if you open your phone settings, go to your Wi-Fi, let it look for Wi-Fi networks. You'll see that pop up once the vent kit is on. And the default password is 123456789. So just go ahead and enter that in. And once you do that, it will connect to the relay board. And you may get something that pops up that will ask you if you want to connect to it, even though it doesn't have access to the internet. This will not have access to the internet, so you can't. The board won't be connected to open internet. It's really just between your phone and the relay board. So you can hit "Don't ask for this network" or whatever. I'm not sure what pops up for an iPhone, but you can hit that, and it just won't ask you that question anymore. So once you do that, just go to your browser and you'll type in 192.168.4.1. This is the default IP address of the relay board. And once you go to that, you'll hit the home page. And the home page is where essentially your vent button is. You can always hit that and it will vent the vent kit. There's a feature that's added on to it, so you can't rapidly hit that button to make it vent over and over and over again. You'll hit it once, and then once that's done, you can hit it again. So you can't kind of hold down the button or anything like that, and that's really just to prevent you from burning out the vape pen inside the vent kit. So we'll take a look at the venting threshold settings, and what this is for is what I found out is that sometimes the voltage changes quite a bit if your talent cell is low. Sometimes it tries to vent really early on in the overheat sequence. Or if you're not using a talent cell at all, if you end up using some other batteries or something, you can tweak this setting to make it vent earlier or later. And sometimes if you can tweak these settings just right, you can actually get it to vent just after the overheat sound. And you can get it pretty close to that sound, but the issue with the wand is that you can't really get it to vent as the overheat sound is going off because the voltage doesn't drop at all during that sound. So it has to be immediately after it because that's when the voltage drops. And I think the Spirit packs actually have the same voltage mechanism for the voltage drop. But you can tweak this. You can put a -5 that will get the venting closer to that overheat sound. If you put it too low, like a -10 or something, then if you're at full charge, you may end up having very sporadic venting. So I wouldn't do that unless you're dealing with some kind of I don't know, some kind of other power source other than a talent cell that might require you to do that. You can certainly try it, but I've got it on there in case someone's using a different type of power source that for some reason is operating the Haslab board at a little higher voltage. But I find that either a 0 or a 2 1, 2, 3, those settings usually work pretty well, and that will keep it venting right after the overheat sound. If you are really having some issues, I don't know why you would, but if you want to make sure that it always vents well after the overheat sound, you can put a 10 in there, and that will it basically multiplies the voltage that the board is looking for to trigger the venting, and that would probably fix any potential issues you're having with sporadic venting or anything like that. So we'll save those settings, and once you save them, your relay board is going to reset. That's how it saves the settings. You can't really save them and actually use the board as it is. It has to kind of reset and start using those settings. So when it does that, the Wi-Fi is going to drop. You'll have to connect back to your Wi-Fi. And we'll refresh this page so you can see that the settings are saved. That's the 10 that we put in. So we're good there. So next we'll look at the just turning the relay board on and off. This is really useful if you're at a convention or something like that isn't allowing any kind of smoke or props that put off smoke to be used, or if you just don't want to use your venting, you can turn that off. I know that when the wand or when the pack powers down, it will usually trigger a venting. You can turn that off, turn the board off totally. Just toggle the on-off switch to off and hit save, and again the board will reset. We'll reload this page just to show you that the settings are saved. Once the page is loaded, it will look for what you saved it as. So in this case, it's off. Pretty simple. We'll turn that back on, save it again, and of course you have to reconnect back to it. Refresh this page just to show that the settings are saved. Okay, so it's saved and on now. Next we'll look at the Wi-Fi settings. You can change the Wi-Fi settings. You can change whatever ID you want your relay board to say. And as I mentioned, it says Proton Pack Vent Kit. That's the default setting. I would advise changing this to something that you can identify with, so you know it's yours, because if you're around several people that have these boards, then they're all going to say the same thing. Plus, everyone will know each other's password. So I tried to implement some basic validation for these forms. And I kept it pretty simple because there's not a lot of storage space with what I'm working with here. So I kept it very basic. No spaces are allowed in the password, and really just numerals and letters and underscores. Really to just prevent anyone having problems accessing their relay board. I'm not allowing special characters because I just didn't want to deal with having to do a lot of validation for that and extra code. So I hope that's not a problem for everyone, but it's just some basic validation that I added to these fields. So you can see that it doesn't allow more than 13 characters for the ID, and for the password, only letters, numbers, and underscores are allowed. So change that to something that you'll remember. You can do uppercase, letters, really whatever you want. Once you save it, though, you're going to get a page that says what your ID is and what your password is, I would like screenshot that or save it or something like that, because once that page is gone, you know, your relay board is saved and you have to know how to connect to it. So you can see that it's got the new name of the relay board, which is just Ghostbusters. You're gonna have to put the password into once you connect to it. So now we're connected to it. If for some reason you do forget your password and you're not able to reset it, there is a way for me to like basically walk you through resetting that, but it's going to involve you having to install Arduino software, and I'll have to send you basically all of the files that you have to upload onto the Arduino to basically overwrite what's there, and it will reset the board to how it is. But it's basically a factory reset. But there is no way for like to like make a button to do that or anything. So it's not too painful, but it'll definitely take you a little bit to get that set up. But so don't panic if like you forget your password. There is a way to fix that. And that's basically it. There's you know some useful settings in there. I feel like hopefully everyone doesn't feel like this is too difficult to use. I tried to put some useful directions in there, but hopefully everyone enjoys using this. I'm going to be doing some of these same types of settings for the Ecto Containment Unit. I'll hopefully be showing that off here in the next month or so. But you'll be able to control that quite a bit from your phone. And I'll be switching over the my PKE Meter kit from an Arduino Nano to using a ESP32, and I'll be implementing Wi-Fi controls and settings for that as well, so that you can switch to Ghostbusters 2 pattern, and you can turn it on and off remotely rather than using the Bluetooth it's set up with now and having to rely on the third-party app. This will all be baked into to the PKE without any kind of external modules or anything. Yep, so that's it. Just let me know if anyone has any questions. Thanks. This is Jason Glisson from Pixel Prop Store.